Welcome, vlog number 34, part 2 on this Saturday afternoon. So, like I said, I've tried to gather my thoughts. I've been keeping an eye on the situation with KGO and the listeners and the boycotts and all that for a week, and I finally have getting my thoughts together and trying to get them down here on tape. So, like I said, understanding a business side, of running things cheaply, I can understand why Cumulus did what it did, because I think this has more to do with with cost than ratings. But the backlash, I think, is understandable. People feel betrayed. The fact that they didn't give the public any warning of this, they didn't give any, and obviously for the people working there, they've created an atmosphere. I mean, Rich Lieberman has his own blog. He's like a media insider for the Bay Area, and he's been doing a lot of reporting on this, and he has inside sources and staff of KGO talking about how the morale's totally down. They're scared. They don't want to lose their jobs, so on and so forth. And they're working people to death because they're working on such a small group of people, basically a ghost staff, trying to do news and information, and it's so. Yeah, I've listened to it. It's boring. It's recycled information over and over again. It's like KNX down here in Southern California, which is the KCBS of the LA area. So on this part of the vlog, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the idea of the fairness doctrine, and the idea that, should we get government involved to say, look, you can't have this many stations, putting a right-wing ideology, versus a left-wing ideology. And I think I don't think government intervention is where we should go. Sorry, I believe in the Ron Paul idea of keeping government out of these private matters. The bottom line, I think, is that the nation is becoming more conservative, and the conservative base is very passionate about what's going on. I don't think you see that with the progressives and the left-leaning people. I mean, they have the president in office. He's obviously doing a shitty job. They're not really attacking him. They're kind of just saying, well, he's done some good things, but we still support him. Well, you have the right, who's obviously pissed off about a lot of things, the Tea Party movement, which some of the anger is legitimate. Some of it is just bullshit, fear-mongering from neocons and basically liars, making up bullshit about Obama being a Muslim, Obama being a communist, Obama being a socialist, blah, 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 blah. So I think if there's a lot of people saying, well, there's no left-leaning media, and, we should get the government involved to make sure that there's an equal amount. I don't think that's the answer. I think it's kind of like Jello Biafra of the Dead Kennedys says it often, and it's like, don't fight the media, I think, or don't blame the media, become the media. And the bottom line is that with the internet and with the opportunity to make, start up streaming radio stations, I think it's important that people stop looking at the government to say, look, the government needs to make it fair, because life isn't fair. People need to get organized, create progressive radio stations, don't necessarily take it on the air, on the airwaves, but do it online. Create your own media. Don't look for the government to solve your problems for you. I don't think that that's the situation. I think the bottom line, though, is that that we live on the coast. I mean, the people, and this is where you get the complaining public from San Francisco down the coast saying, there's no liberal media. I don't understand this. I can't stand conservative media. I can't stand conservative talk radio, and so on and so forth. And you got people on the eastern coast, especially like New York, and in the liberal areas saying the same thing. But you got to remember that there's a whole middle section who's very, very evangelical, very right-wing. It's just the basic facts, And I don't think we should just shun. I don't think we should say, oh, well, their opinions don't matter either. I think bottom line is that if you're upset with the situation of no progressive talk radio, don't look for the corporations to go, because the corporations are trying to sell the people, and the majority of the people who are real passionate are the evangelicals and the right-wingers. Start your own media. Go online and create an online base of people and start your own media movement. And I think that's the legitimate answer to what should happen here. I mean, if you're upset with KGO kind of taking away that kind of outlet for people, I think you should look and find alternative ways of making that happen, rather than saying, well, there needs to be fairness, the fairness doctrine. That's my own personal belief on it, and I'm probably going to get a lot of shit from people who don't agree with me, but that's understandable. And there are a lot of people who look to government to solve things, and I don't think that's the government's job. I also think that when it comes down to it too, is that especially in the Bay Area, KGO was looked at as where the choir came to preach. And I think that's what the problem is. I just actually finished up listening to KSCO's Saturday special program, where the owner, MZ Michael, I forget how to pronounce his name, was talking about KGO, and they're seizing the opportunity to basically say, look, come here. You want local, in-house, talk radio? Look no further. Please come join our family. And for KSCO, I mean, I've listened a little bit. I mean, they have Rush Limbaugh, who I can't stand. I'll listen to every once in a while just to hear what the mainstream right's talking about, which is just bullshit. Same thing with the left wing. I mean, shit. Right wing, mainstream. It's all the same to me. And you'll get also some left leaning program on KSCO. But I was listening to his program this morning where they're talking about it and talking about what can be done. How could they seize this opportunity? And a caller, who actually is one of the moderators for the former KGO listeners, calls up and says, I can't stand Rush Limbaugh. It's not, intelligent. There's, blah, 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 about having some sort of balance. And, just kind of bashed, can't stand them. There's a lot of people who are saying this about KSCO, is that, oh, well, it's too conservative for me. And I'm sorry, I don't turn into talk radio to hear people agreeing. I mean, and I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, is that there needs to be, you don't like it, turn it, and find another program. You don't bash a radio station for having different points of view. I mean, I think it's great that KSCO has left-leaning program, which is usually in-house. Then you have Rush Limbaugh in the morning, which is nationally syndicated, which is right. And then you have like Alex Jones and George Norrie, who are kind of on the alternative media tip. I think that's great. And I think what the problem is that people get into the mindset that they need to listen to radio, which they'll automatically agree with, because it'll make them feel like they're right. And I think that that's part of the problem. What's wrong with our country is that we've got too many people who want to tune in to hear their own opinion rather than to be challenged. I love KGO for the fact that, yeah, it was Obama central, and granted there were some hosts that loved Obama and there were some hosts that didn't really care for Obama. But then you'd have people who would, call in and give some sort of alternative view to the opinion that Obama's great, or, I mean, it's just I don't understand. I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem in a lot of media, is that the fact that the listening audience wants to hear what they agree with. And we've gotten ourselves so mind-blocked into this belief that we have to listen or watch or read everything that we agree with, rather than opening up our eyes, opening up our ears, opening up our minds to alternative views and alternative commentary that we might not agree with. I mean, shit, I don't agree with Gene Burns on 50% of what's going on. Obviously, I found it necessary to call him up on the 9/11 anniversary and say, hey, dude, there's a lot of evidence that does not jive with the official story. And I enjoy listening to heated discussion. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think and that's healthy. And I think what we've gotten ourselves into is a very unhealthy habit of just listening to what we agree with, and it doesn't really challenge our thinking or open our minds to new opinions, unless the callers call in and state something that's different, a different point of view, which we'll tend to go, damn conservatives, why are you calling KGO? It's bullshit. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. So with that being said, KGO will probably likely stay with this new format unless some real big shit hits the fan, as far as the ratings totally drop off. That could be a possibility. They could lose some advertising over time, and I think it's good. I think honestly the outrage comes from a good place. I don't think it's right for people to call up other radio stations and say, look, I'm a refugee, I need you to change your station to fit my listening pleasures. And I think that's the wrong outlook. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a shame that this had to happen, but this is radio. And I honestly think when it comes down to it, the move to limit freedom of speech and a public forum for people to talk about the issues of the day is happening systematically, and I don't think it's necessarily a right-wing conspiracy, and I don't think it's necessarily a left-wing conspiracy. I think it's the social engineer conspiracy, that they want people to consume force-fed information and really take out any kind of forum where people can express ideas. You're seeing it with the internet. You see it with community access disappearing nationwide, and now you're seeing it with talk radio, which talk radio is getting run out, local talk radio, and I mean that's the unfortunate situation, but I think it's up to us to create the new medium and to create the new media. The internet is here. The possibilities are endless. The technology's there. We just need to utilize it. So that's my time. Vlog 34. I'm done. Keep up the good fight, KGO listeners. And I'm definitely support your efforts. And we'll talk later. Take care. Feel free to comment. Send me a message. We'll talk to you later. Adios.